listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
Welcome to the second half of Passion. In this half of the program, we talk with author and psychic advisor Louise Helene about how to use your intuition. She wrote a book, I Saw Your Future, and He's Not It. Louise, welcome to the show.
Hello, Laurie. I'm happy to be on your show.
Thanks. Now, okay, tell me what a psychic advisor is, how you got into all of this, and then, of course, how you apply it all to relationships. Very fascinating.
Yes, well, my mother was a psychic, and she was an advisor, and I helped her for many years. And as a matter of fact, I gave my first reading. My mother was a spiritualist minister, and I gave my first reading when I was 12 years old. And people asked me many questions. So I was actually born into, my mother was doing that, so I was born into it. And I've been doing this for over 30 years.
But is this a gift, a specific gift, a specific talent? Can anybody develop this? Because I have heard it in families, like it's some kind of genetic thing or something. I don't know.
Yes. It is stronger in the gift is stronger in some people, but we are all born with intuition. It's just more developed in some people. And in my book, I call it psychic edge exercises, and it actually helps people to develop their psychic abilities, their intuition, their natural intuition. We are all psychic to a certain degree. It's just more developed in some of us. And the more you do it, the more you practice, the better you get. It's like a muscle, like exercising your body.
I think some people are afraid of it, too.
They are. Some people are.
There's somebody who texted in at 514-800 says, I don't necessarily trust my intuition since there may be fear, past experiences, etc., in many areas that cloud my gut. How can one discern between fear, doubt, and lack of trust and a true gut feeling? So it's kind of like getting to the core and getting rid of all the crap around it that makes you question your gut.
Exactly, and the exercises in my book they give, there's certain exercises, and there's many of them. There's 20 chapters. There's 20 different exercises. As time goes on and as you do it, certain exercises help you separate the two. What are fears that you have? What are things that happened to you in the past that you're afraid of, and what is your real intuition? And as you practice, you are learning to develop to understand the difference. Because we all have fears, but it's not necessarily our intuition, our gut feeling.
It's interesting that when people, when they look back, when they, after they've, let's say, ended a relationship, and they look back, you often hear, like, I should have trusted my gut.
Yes,
my gut told me.
Yes.
So it is something that we tend to ignore, probably based on a lot of the things that texter was kind of saying, is fear that, people question, they kind of say, am I misunderstanding it? Am I really, am I really thinking straight? Am I being, where's this coming from? And so they do
and they
question
ignore their feelings, and many times they'll have many times they'll have feeling after feeling, and they just ignore it. And then after, in hindsight, they should have trusted their intuition, their gut feeling. And my book tries to teach people to be able to separate the two and to pay attention and to be very aware of your feelings and your thoughts. And also when you have a feeling, to think about it. Why am I feeling that way? Why do I feel he's cheating? Why do I feel he's not interested? And another thing, so many women, we all want love. Mm-hmm. Everyone is looking for love and that soulmate.
Right.
And we're all looking for that. And sometimes the desire to have that is ignoring all these red flags and all these gut feelings and all this intuition, because the desire to have love, many people are impatient.
Mm-hmm. And that need is there, right? Mm-hmm. Right. It's more of a need than a want, though. It's more of I need to have it, and I'll ignore some of these things because
right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it
my book tries to show women how we can have the happiness that we deserve in life. And some of the exercises are for psychic development. Some are visualization to draw. Visualization is very important in the universe to draw what we want to us. Because there's many women that are looking. They don't actually have anyone in mind. And they're looking. And we want to draw that person to us. Because many times some women attract the same sort of man all the time. They accept the same kind of man. This is visualization. What do you want? And that helps, and it helps also as you're developing your intuition to be able to separate what is fear from the past or past experience and what is intuition.
Now, someone was wanting to know, she says, can you tell me if my boyfriend is right for me? Is he the one? I don't want you to tell her, but I want you to tell her what she can ask herself or what she can do to find out, to ask within herself if the person is right for her.
Now, it does take practice. That's why in the book there's a lot of different exercises. But, however, sit in a quiet room. This is more not actually for the intuition. Well, it does involve intuition. Meditate, lay in a quiet room, and visualize. She can visualize her boyfriend and visualize him. And after she does this for about 5-10 minutes, then think about his actions, and then think about some things that have bothered her, because we all have things that someone has done that bothers us, and then stop meditating and see how she feels. How does she feel? Do those things that when she's quiet and visualizing him, do they? Does it go away quickly? The things that he has done, is she still think about them? Do they bother her? If they bother her, some actions maybe that she has not liked what he's done, if they bother her, she needs to look a little bit more into it, because these might be red flags that she's ignoring.
Right. I remember way back in my dating years, which was many years ago, but I used to do that visualization exercise, and it would be, I would visualize whoever I was with as the father of my children.
Wonderful.
And every guy I dated until I met my husband did not fit the bill. It was really weird. I thought, potential. And then I would sit and do that visualization exercise.
Yes.
And it was like, no, that's not it. That's not it. Until finally, when I met my husband, I did it. And it was like, that's it.
Yes. But you were using, visualization was helping you to enhance your intuition. It's just like you knew when you visualized him as the father of your children, it was it. He was the one. Yes. It was using your intuition.
Right. It was a gut feeling, because it wasn't based on usual, like the type I would have been, let's say, attracted to if I were to look at just the external kind of stuff, Well,
yes.
It was really
women that are married also can use the book. Because sometimes women have questions about their husband.
Like what? So, like, is he cheating on me?
Having intuition is a very good thing. Pardon me?
Like what? Like, is he cheating on me? Is that
some things like that? No, I'm not saying with you. But yes, some women have questions like that if their boyfriend or husband, if he's cheating, does he care the way he did, the way he used to? Different questions. They have different questions. And there's stories I use in the book, stories from real clients, and they're examples of many mistakes that women make and the uncertainty women have.
Right.
And many problems that women have, like, why doesn't he call? I get many questions from clients. Their boyfriend is not calling them, or the guy that they gave their number to is not calling them. And
they don't know. They can't answer, like, is he really into me or not? They almost can't read it.
Right. They can't read it. They could if they stopped and tried to push aside past experience and did visualization and listen to their gut feeling. Actually, our gut feeling is intuition. It's just more developed than some people. And some people listen. And many people ignore.
Listen to their insights.
Yes.
It's listening to oneself and listening to that voice inside your head.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let me throw out the numbers here if anybody wants to talk to you. Louise Helene is a psychic advisor. She wrote a book, I Saw Your Future, and He's Not It. And she teaches people basically to develop intuition or psychic intuition in order to make better choices or answer questions. So if you have specific questions for Louise, you can give us a call at 514-790-0991. You can also text at 514-800. More with Louise Helene, the author of I Saw Your Future, and He's Not It, available at all bookstores, Amazons, etc. And we'll talk to her in just a few more minutes here on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
My guest tonight, Louise Helene, author of I Saw Your Future, and He's Not It. She's a psychic advisor. So it's a gift, but apparently anyone can hone it, can develop it, and some people maybe have a little more than another. But it's really about your gut feelings and listening to your gut. And Louise's book teaches you how to better listen to your gut instead of questioning it. Louise, do you think there's a gender difference in terms of who listens to their gut more?
I feel actually women are more intuitive.
Uh-huh.
I feel that actually men might listen to their gut more, but women are more intuitive. I feel they are. Women are very in tune to their feelings.
Right.
Women, unfortunately, many times, especially when it comes to love, they will ignore their feeling.
Right. Or they listen more to the other person's feelings. It's almost like
they do.
They're so in tune and intuitive about the other person's feelings that they can sometimes neglect their own.
Yes, and they'll also tune in to the good aspects and parts of the person, and sort of tune out and not listen to the negative.
Right, or they'll say, well, he doesn't do all of that, therefore, the positive, and then later on they realize, should have listened to that first voice.
I hear it over and over again. I see it so often, and women, love is not easy, and it's difficult waters many times, and we need all the help we can get.
Absolutely, and we should be listening.
Yes, and listening to our intuition, that gut feeling. I have one exercise where I have the woman put a quarter on their forehead, on the middle of their stomach, on each shoulder, while they're laying down, and try to feel that. Because many times our intuition is just like a whisper.
Interesting.
The slightest sensation, even in our body.
Huh.
We have to be able to recognize that.
You have to quiet the mind, I would imagine, right? And
yes.
Okay, because I find
many
a lot.
exercises are done when it's quiet, and try to push everything out of your mind and just concentrate.
There's a meditation.
Very delicate. Intuition is very delicate. Even readers, some days I'm better than others, because psychic things are very sensitive.
How do you do that? Like, is it just something you remember, just having this able to see through people, or how did you discover this in you?
Well, my mother was a psychic, and she was a spiritualist minister.
Right.
And in spiritualist churches, you give readings, and I gave my first reading. I was 12. My mother always encouraged me, and she also said that I was very gifted.
She knew this. She knew
I was very gifted. Yeah.
But how did you? What was different for you? When did you know something's different about you?
That I noticed, actually, when I was about 6 years old.
Really? Mm-hmm. What did you notice?
I would notice I would feel what people were thinking.
Okay.
And many times I found out that I was correct.
Huh.
And it also saved me from some various things when I was a child.
Really?
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
I'll give one example. I was home with my mother, and she wasn't feeling well, and a man came to the door, and I was 5, and he said he wanted to sell something. And my mother just said, "Oh, go away." You know, she didn't want to buy anything. She wasn't feeling very well. And he hid at the side of the door and whispered to me, "Little girl, if you take your finger and unlock the door, I'll give you a piece of candy."
Oy.
And he was hiding. And I looked at him and I thought,
bad man.
Yes. And I noticed, and I still to this day remember every expression on his face.
That's so.
And I didn't, of course, open the door, and I actually slammed the door.
That's so funny. I had a similar story happen to me when I was around 5 years old. But
really?
Yeah. I was walking down the street, and there was an older man walking towards us with a cane, and something didn't feel quite right, and the man ended up dropping his cane and running. I was with another little kid, running after us. But something didn't feel. I remembered that feeling of something not quite right. Thankfully, I managed to run back home and I was safe. But I remember that gut feeling.
It was very. I have a chill when you're saying that to me. Actually, I feel that you are very psychic.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I'm a therapist. I do have intuition. I do believe I've got good intuition. I don't know if I'm psychic, but.
Well, let me say this. Intuition and psychic, it's a different word. It's about the same thing. It's just more developed. When someone's saying they're psychic, they've developed it a little more. You could easily develop yours.
Really?
Yes. You're very. As soon as I heard your voice actually before, I was thinking, oh, you're very intuitive. You're very psychic, and you actually certainly could develop it.
Well, I think it helps in the work that I do in terms of, getting people quickly. I feel I do get people rather quickly, and so it saves on time. And people feel, and people feel like they've been gotten. It's like, okay, she knows what's
people
happening.
can use intuition and psychic ability in different professions.
Of course.
I have a sibling that has a very important job in the government, and he has used his psychic ability many times.
Right. Oh, sure. There's in a lot of these, especially even in people who do investigations, and you've got to be able to use all that. Yeah. We're going to take a short break and come back, Louise, to you for a few last questions. I got a couple of text messages to share with you. Louise Helene, author of I Saw Your Future and He's Not in It. More coming up here on Passion.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
My guest tonight is psychic advisor and author Louise Helene. The book is I Saw Your Future and He's Not It. She teaches you how to develop your own intuition, your gut feeling, so to speak, so that you can make better choices. If you need to get in touch with her after the show, of course, you can go to her website, www.louisehelenepsychic.com. And Helene is spelled as we would in French here, Helene. So Louise Helene, thepsychic.com. You can go to her website. So here's someone who texted in. I'm hoping my guy is the one. So I'm trying to listen to my gut. When I stop and consider if he's not the one, I get a pit in my stomach, a really lousy feeling. Does that mean it's right or no? Is it fear, resistance, truth? No idea. This person sounds a little confused.
When she feels he's not the one, she gets a pain, right? When she's thinking he's not the one. I actually feel he's the one. I feel he's the one, but I feel it's going to take a little time. And she should continue to do some visualization and try to have that feeling. But I actually feel he's the one. And I feel that see the number 3 in connection to something moving forward for her. About 3 months.
That it will change to something else.
It will change. It's going to change. It's going to go to another level. About 3 months. I see a large number 3. So, yeah.
Okay.
I'm
sure that's exactly what she was looking for.
But I actually feel that I believe in reincarnation, and I feel that she has known him before.
Well, isn't that when sometimes we say, oh, I met my soulmate. It really, that one feeling that comes up is, I feel like I've known you my whole life and beyond,
Yes, and many times you've known the person beyond, yes, and many other lives sometimes. But one thing, people always say their soulmate. We actually have several soulmates
I believe
walking around on the planet because we've lived many lives, so we've known many people. So sometimes a soulmate is not, when you meet one, is not the one you're supposed to be with in this life.
Well, that's interesting. How do we know that? Oh my God, it's all too crazy. Louise, that was really fun, and I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much.
Yes, and thank you for having me.
Right.
It was a very pleasant interview, and develop that intuition that you have.
Okay, I will. I will try to do that. And can I do that? I'll do that by doing the exercises in your book.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
God bless.
Bye-bye.